After Mom died, Dad began dating Pam. They were together for 5 years. Dad never directly told me about Pam. 2 years into their relationship, I saw their texts as I was resetting his phone. After that, I would offer to troubleshoot it so I could learn how the relationship progressed. Not proud of this, but it's the truth. But I was never informed of her from my dad. Our relationship was strained. After Mom's death, he wouldn't let me come to his office, assist in his hobbies, or attend events. Now I know it's because he feared someone would tell me about Pam or I would meet her. Now he's died. I was officially told about Pam when I, only child, collected his office things, and a large photo of her, no one else including me on his desk, was there. They were stunned I didn't know. I threw that photo away right there. I made all arrangements. Pam tried contacting Dad's phone, Messenger. I assume she saw all the posts on his Facebook and the funeral date online. I never responded to her. Yet, before his wake started, Pam and her family showed up and planned to be a part of the services. I came in at 5 p.m. for the 6 p.m. wake, and she and her 3 sons, daughter-in-laws, grandkids were there talking with some of his friends. She's known them all for 3 to 4 years. I was floored. The funeral people asked me why I didn't include her, since she's his significant other. I told them right in front of everyone that I've lived with my dad all this time. We had issues since I became an adult, these last 5 years, and I never met or knew her. At this point, Pam got out of the provided chair and tried to play it cool by saying, "Oh, come now," while pulling me aside to chat. During this chat, she told me, "You're going to embarrass yourself and father if you don't just keep it together. I can't believe you refused to meet me until now, but that was your choice. Now let's get through this and figure it out later." What the hell? All my life, my parents wanted me to keep quiet, be a good proper lady, don't complain, etc. And all of that just bubbled right to the surface, and I lost it. I went to the funeral home's manager and told them to remove Pam and her family, as they were not family, or I would call the cops. Pam followed me, saying she knew this would happen because I never wanted to meet her, according to Dad, and I spent 10 minutes explaining to her and her family that he never told me about them. Pam wanted to stay because in her mind, she was all but legally his wife. I said no, because I'm the family, and she should have thought this through. Right before 6 p.m. service, she and her whole family left, and it was just me facing, among other things, constant questionings of "Where's Pam? Why couldn't Pam come? We saw Pam outside leaving, why did you do that? Am I the a-hole for just not putting on a brave face and let her be there with me as family?" Now the top comments. Everyone sucks here, mostly your dad. A little bit Pam for taking over, because while she didn't know that you didn't know about her, she did think you didn't want to meet her. So why on earth was she thinking that was going to go well? Why wouldn't she have stopped by to meet you privately first, or called? She had options. And then a little bit you for not having the most mature reaction in the moment. But with this many emotions in such an intense period, I get it. Honestly, what leapt off the page to me the most was all the pain you must be feeling. I'm really sorry your dad set you up for this. This is an incredibly hard and crappy situation you're in. Not the a-hole. If this Pam was so loved by your father, he would have told you about her and not put the blame on you for not ever meeting her. You told in other comments that she acted like she did all the arrangements of the funeral and tried to school you like you were a small child. First of all, she had no right to do that and act like you are one big family when it's not true. Second, I have seen people like this. You should stay away from them as far as possible. They will hijack all your events, sidelining you, making it all about themselves. You are your father's legal heir. You did what you thought right. And a small advice, look out for her claiming your father's property or something. You could possibly get in legal battle with her. Take advice from a lawyer on this if possible. Lastly, sorry for your loss. I hope you feel better about this as the time goes by. In my opinion, you are the a-hole. Pam was clearly a big part of his life, and although he didn't tell you about her, she probably deserves to go to the wake/funeral. Dad did put you in a very hard place there, especially with what seems to have been him telling Pam that you didn't want to meet her. But I think it would have been best to let her come. The rest of her family, I don't know. I didn't entirely understand from reading whether or not he was close with the rest of the family. Sort of like if he had a good friend you didn't know about, you would probably let them in. Update. My issue, which led to my actions, was that she was there as his family. And she's not his family. I am. I moved in with him after Mom died to help him with the house and animals. We didn't get along because we have the same personality over different generations and just fought all the time. I also resented having to, one final time, push down my feelings for someone else's benefit. It may be wrong, but that's how it's been my whole life, and I just didn't have it in me to fake it once more on this huge of a level. I, 37 female, finally moved out of my future in-laws' home after nearly 5 years of waiting. My fiancé, 30 male, and I have been like entirely new people since getting out of his parents' home, but we're having an issue with moving the remainder of our things. His mother, let's call her V, has this bad habit of giving away our things, or throwing out our things without asking. She will swear that we said we didn't want it, cry, and apologize. It's a very irritating cycle that I can't wait to be entirely free of. Last week we went to clear out our storage unit, and I was very sad to find that my armchair had molded. We cleared out everything else and we decided we would come back later to take the chair to the dump. Yesterday, V contacts me via text saying she wants to come by and pick up our storage key. I was like, "You aren't going to be able to open the padlock on your own. You should let your son do it." She argued with me that she was planning to use a hammer, what the hell, and she would have her friend with her. Then she mentions her friend is going to clean the chair. All kinds of red flags are being raised, and I just knew she had a plan already in motion without consulting me. I texted her back, "What exactly are you planning with my armchair?" Radio silence. She didn't respond to me until 11 o'clock, 9 hours later. And in that time, I got in contact with someone else about getting this chair taken care of. V started texting me with excuses as to why she was quiet all day, and just says, "Well, I was going to have my friend give it away to some low-income disabled seniors that doesn't care what shape it's in. They said they will clean it up. They smoke and have dogs, but not much to sit on." I was so pissed. She didn't ask. She just claimed my property as hers to give away. Not to mention, she wants to give it to a disabled senior? This chair is thoroughly covered in mold. I called her. I told her I was a little upset, to which she immediately started shouting, "What did I do wrong now?" No clue what that response is about. I told her she cannot just give my things away, that it needs to be dumped because it's moldy and could potentially make someone sick. V's response? "I know that." And she still wants to give it away. Even though I was shaking with anger, I kept calm, asked her to lower her tone, and let her know we found someone else to help us dump it. She shouted, "Fine," at me and hung up. I'm honestly feeling pissed off. And honestly, my feelings are hurt. She has never spoken to me like that before. While I feel like I have every right to be angry, at the same time I feel guilty. Was there any other way I should have handled this? Am I an a-hole? Now the top comments. Not the a-hole. My husband and I were in the process of moving out of state with 3 kids when our van broke down. I was stranded in the new state with the kids. He was midway transporting some of our stuff. Suddenly we were looking at buying a new vehicle after we'd literally just replaced the tires, and we couldn't make it back to the house to finish packing up our stuff. His family, who lived in that state, ended up taking care of it, which I felt horrible about because it was a mess. Half-packed and 3 young kids under 10 is not the neatest job to make. However, they threw everything out. Pictures, all my baby mementos like their hospital bracelets, first outfits, etc. And they kept whatever they wanted, which included our remote-controlled space heater and the coin collection my dad had given me. While I do agree they deserve to be compensated for doing that for us, they never asked. They just acted like it was first come, first served to our stuff. I'm still pretty bitter about it, to be honest. Especially the things I can't get back or replace, like the pictures and mementos. Update. I would like to say that I do not hate my future mother-in-law. Her and I usually get along just fine. I have never fought with her before, yelled at her, or the like. She is usually very helpful, and I appreciate her when she is, and am sure to tell her so. I don't know why people are assuming I lived with her rent-free, and that's definitely not the case. We paid rent, kept ourselves, ate our own food, bought our own toiletries, etc. Some points I want to raise is the fact that she, her husband, and her friend are all allergic to mold. It's not just about this senior I don't know, but it's also about his parents' health. And something I didn't stop and realize is that she has armchairs in her home that she isn't currently using that she could give away instead. My fiancé is not okay with his mother's actions, and the reason I'm handling the issue instead is because he will likely go off on her and cause an even bigger drama. He's bipolar. Last thing, we have no plans of giving a key to anyone, don't worry. For some context, I, female 28, just moved in from my city to my first home in a suburban neighborhood about 6 months ago. Just me and my dog Oaken, a Dutch Shepherd. My dog is trained as a professional protection dog, PPD. I'm a runner and Oaken runs with me. We were running in our neighborhood's park and pond area. I had my AirPods in, it was just getting dark. I'd noticed in passing a guy on his bike on the same trails, and as we are coming around the pond, he was stopped on our path. He waved us down and said he had dropped his keys, asked if I had seen them on the path, asked if I had a light on me because he thinks he's dropped them in the grass, wanted to know if I lived in the neighborhood, which house was mine, if I was nearby because he didn't see any cars in the parking area that he didn't recognize. Basically, anything to keep us there and keep talking. Not scary, but annoying with a definite hint of creepy. After, he forgot his initial story and said, "I'm gonna be so pissed at myself if I just lost another earbud. That's my third pair and they're nearly $300 a pop." I moved to leave and he stood in the path and started asking about Oaken. Oaken wasn't doing anything aggressive at this point. No hair raised, no growling or barking. He was doing exactly what he was trained to do, and every time the guy would move to get closer to us, he would just stand between me and him. The guy asked if he was friendly, asked to pet him, and I said I'd rather he not. He kept saying dogs loved him, blah blah blah. I again said no, and we started to walk around the guy to go. That's when he decided it would be a good idea to try to grab Oaken's leash. I have no idea why. Your guess is as good as mine. Oaken backed us up, low growl, showed his teeth. Didn't snap, didn't bite. We left. The encounter was strange enough I posted in the neighborhood app. Nothing accusing the guy of attacking us or anything over the top like that. Just that my dog and I had gotten stopped by a stranger out running, and a reminder not to grab at a person's dog or dog leash without permission. Apparently, Park Guy's wife read the post and recognized her husband immediately, because since then, she's been telling every neighbor who will listen about my aggressive attack dog. I've now gotten a letter from the Homeowners Association, and apparently the next homeowners meeting has breed-specific bans on the agenda. While I believe Oaken's response was appropriate and controlled, I'm feeling sad and disappointed that my new community has the wrong impression. I'm not out to terrify people. Am I the a-hole for posting what I posted on the neighborhood app and apparently starting a feud with my new neighbor? Was I wrong for calling out Park Guy publicly? Now the top comments. Not the a-hole. Park Guy was being a shady creep. You had no way of knowing he was a neighbor, and even if you had, the way he behaved towards you and Oaken was suspicious and bizarre, especially with changing his story. I'm wondering if there's something deeper going on there with a history of creeping on young women, and the wife knows it, and is just in denial about the veracity of his stories of how he always ends up in these situations with women who are always the ones at fault. But no matter what's at the core of it, whether it's a misunderstanding or something more, you did nothing wrong and were simply being safe when alone after dark and confronted by a strange man. Not the a-hole. That interaction was creepy AF. And frankly, the guy is lucky that your dog is as well trained as he is, otherwise he may have been bitten. Don't feel sad, just explain what happened and why you felt uneasy and what exactly led up to your dog displaying aggression protectiveness. Update. Yes, I have a home security system and cameras. The previous homeowners had a couple of collectible cars in the detached garage/apartment and put in an extensive system. Park Guy's questions about where I lived, etc. didn't immediately set off crazy red flags, because I've been asked very similar questions by multiple women multiple times in the neighborhood too. I'm getting the impression I'm the youngest person in the area by a good 20 or more years, because people have asked me who my parents are, who I'm visiting, etc. It seems like the only young people hanging around are ones who drive in from other places to get to the park, and this neighborhood seems weirdly territorial about their park. I will definitely talk to an officer about a report. My 47 female daughter Sarah, 18 female, is a very smart girl. She has a 4.0 GPA. She's valedictorian of her class, and she's just gotten word from her dream college that she has received a full ride scholarship. We have a college fund for her of about $250,000. When we found out about the scholarship, we agreed that we would still give her the money to pay for other things that she would need in college, such as housing, food, etc. Well, she came home yesterday kind of sad. I asked her what was the matter. She said that she was not going to go to college anymore. Apparently, her boyfriend Brian, 19 male, told her not to go anymore. Some background on Brian. His family is very well off, and his parents have never issued discipline on this child. I mean, he's very rude and disrespectful, and although he seems sweet to my daughter when they're alone, she'll complain that whenever they're out with friends, Brian is constantly putting her down and comparing her to Instagram models. Brian is currently enrolled in college, but he has no set course for his future. He's just rolling with the cards, as Sarah says. Some other background info is that my daughter is going to college for marine biology. Well, with what my daughter told me about their conversation, she was telling Brian about her full ride scholarship and how excited she was to finally go to school for marine biology. He's never supported her dream of being a marine biologist and has always told her to go to college for a real job. When he sat her down and told her to not go to college at all, he told her to wait for him here in our town and don't worry about getting a job even, because his parents will support her, and that he didn't feel comfortable with her going to college out of state and so far away. He also said it made him feel unmanly when she has a set course for her future which will give her a good life, while he has none. After she told me what was going on, I didn't make a decision right away, but I knew that I wasn't just going to let my daughter throw away her future like this. She then asked me for her college fund so she could help support Brian's dreams. What? So I took time to think and I sat her down today. I told her that she cannot have her college fund to spend on Brian. She started freaking out, asking why, and it was her money. And I asked her to listen. I asked her if she actually could see a serious future with Brian in it. She said nothing the first time and then started crying. I asked her again, more gently this time, and she admitted no, while still crying. I pleaded with her to please not throw away her future for someone who she can't see herself having a life with. She then nodded and went up to her room for some time to think. From what I've learned, she broke it off with Brian, and he has been calling non-stop, crying and begging to speak to her. I feel very guilty and sort of like an a-hole. Am I? Now the top comments. No, you're a loving and caring parent. I'm serious. My parents couldn't tell you a thing about me as a person after the age of 16, besides a basic observation they may get lucky enough to pay attention to. It sounds like you approached this with as much sensitivity as you could with her, and didn't use anger or fear to communicate. You showed respect by letting her speak and then got your point across gently. She's 18, every heartbreak sucks. She's known what you were saying for a while, it sounds like. It actually sounds as though Brian has been abusing her emotionally and mentally as well as manipulating her. You helped her save herself. Now call your phone carrier and block his number and any family and friends' numbers your daughter may have of his. Or better yet, please change her phone number. He's going to try to wear her down mentally, and the calls will keep coming. And from the sounds of the idiot, he isn't going to relent anytime soon.